Hello everyone, this is TobeTada with another video of crypto trading. Thanks for checking by and let's dive right in. So you probably saw that Bitcoin lost a couple of percentage points, and we talked in a past video about two scenarios for Bitcoin as for the future price movement, and I think it has done pretty well in anticipating this move downwards. And I want to share you again my thoughts about this, and also the longer term perspective here, that this helps to perhaps predict market movements here. And as you can see, there are some Fibonacci ratios here, and with these you can basically, or they give you a pretty good indicator of where price might move. So if we use it for a correction, we should use it by marking the low point here. This is of course a very long-term perspective, and it's starting at $161, and we basically mark it all the way to the peak here, which would have been the almost $20,000 peak here. And from this perspective we can anticipate a downward correction at about 0.618. This is because this is the way Bitcoin seems to move. So there's certain characteristics for each crypto, and for each stock you could basically do this for everything, but the characteristic might be different. So some might correct to 0.618, others to 0.786, others might move even more differently. This is just very rough outline, but it seems to work pretty well for Bitcoin. And so what I've noticed here is that it does tend to correct back down to 0.618 here. And if we look at the smaller cycles, we can see that when we start the low point here in December 2018 and mark the high point in June 24th, 2019, we should actually expect another downward fall in the price to about 8,000, roughly speaking, $8,000. And so that's why I came up with a scenario. One would actually dip only until about the price we see about now, about 9,400, bounce back up, and the other one we would see the full correction to 0.618. Now let's have a little closer look at what's going on here. So I'll change the chart here to a daily chart, and I'll perhaps actually remove this ratios because that's getting a little bit annoying. So when we look at this, we can of course draw several trend lines. Now there's a couple of options here. I think a very good option also is to have this horizontal line here. This is not so relevant anymore now. This would give us basically a descending triangle here, perhaps. Others have said that this is not the case. We'll have to see. And you can basically see the movement here in this I'll still call it a descending triangle here, going upwards, downwards, upwards, downwards, upwards, and then basically downwards again. And if you're wondering why we saw this downturn in price here, we can basically connect here another trend line. And this has been basically the price is basically stalled, as you can see, in the last weeks basically. And because there's a high uncertainty where the price is going, either up or down, the price isn't really moving anywhere at all. And this definitely does happen quite often when we look at certain cryptos and stocks in general as well. And you can see if we draw this trend line here and move it, you can see it has some support from here, but that was broken. And so when it came, where it basically breached that support, we saw this downward movement of about 5 to 6% here. We'll have to see what happens next, but the support is basically, the next support level is definitely coming from the 9,200 here. So there is a very good chance, in my opinion, we'll see a further decline going down to about 9,200. It actually could bounce back up again. So you could see downward price bounce back up, and then if it has enough momentum, we could actually breach this resistance here. We'll have to see in detail what this means, but I've noticed in the past that the closer you get to this closing trend lines here, this the price is not going to wait, going to bounce forever in the smaller wedge here. Sometime before that, probably around here or here, we're going to see breakouts to the top or bottom. That's my experience. And you can also see this example of stalling price very well here when we started to go out of this bear market. You can see that, for example, in these, the resolution isn't that high, but you can basically see here, for example, we had a very good case when basically for a week the price was stalling and then having this larger downward spike here and also here, and these are basically phases of uncertainty. The market isn't decided upon where the price is going to move, and once there's an indication of a direction, it's amplified in that direction. But it can also mean that if we see an action downwards, there is normally a very strong reaction upwards again. And so it still then depends if what force is greater, the action breaching the support or the reaction breaching the resistance. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Maybe give me a comment, I'd appreciate that, and see you next time. Bye.